right, and in our continuing series of reviews of the DC Animated Universe, we are reviewing the Batman the Animated Series episodes Feet of Clay 1 and 2. These were aired on September 25th and 28th of 1992. Bunch of credits on this one. So the first episode was directed by a guy by the name of Dick Sebast, with a story by Marv Wolfman, the legendary Marv Wolfman, and a teleplay by Michael Reeves. And then the second episode was directed by Kevin Altieri, who's a big director for all these episodes. The teleplay was by Marv Wolfman, and the story was by Michael Reeves. So kind of swapping it. And Brian, prior to us, turning on the recording here, you had said how you had thought there was a really dramatic difference between episodes 1 and 2.
There was a huge dramatic difference. And though we, just a behind the scenes, a BTS for the three old geeks. We always argue about these part 1 and part 2s. They take them as one episode, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They're 2 episodes. Different days, different people.
One story.
This one...
One story.
Right, but it took 2 episodes to tell it. This one, though, there was such a striking difference between part 1 and part 2. Not just, in tone and style, but in quality.
Well, you think the animation was better in one than the other?
The second one was some of the best animation in the series.
Okay, and I was going to say you're talking about, again, we'll touch, the first guy, I don't recall hearing his name before. Kevin Altieri is still directing animation today.
It was unbelievable. It was anime.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, you mentioned it, and maybe at some point in time we can get more into that, is the different animation companies that were handling the animation.
Yeah, we might have to start digging a little bit deeper into that or something like that, because there's such an inconsistency in animation in this.
Huge.
That I'd be curious to see which studio is a bad one and which studio is the good one and whatnot. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so Feet of Clay is the first CLAYFACE. And I think this is definitely a really interesting reinterpretation of the kind of the CLAYFACE that I grew up with in the comics. And to start off with some of my good, I thought that this version of CLAYFACE captured all the different, because CLAYFACE has been different incarnations all throughout the history of Batman. He was just, I think they were trying to do a play off of Lon Chaney, like he was like a man of 1,000 faces type of thing, like this actor. And then in the 70s, I think it was, they kind of made him like the victim of an industrial accident, and wasn't he sort of like Swamp Thing or Man Thing, where his touch like burned things and he was like, his bones all liquefied or something. He actually wore like a suit more like
you know what? I kind of
Mr.
remember
Freeze.
that.
I remember
he had the dome on it.
Yeah, like the dome helmet, and his face was like all kind of mashed against it and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I don't think they really did the shape-shifting thing. I think that actually came out of this. I could be wrong, but I'm not by any stretch of imagination an expert on CLAYFACE or whatever.
Nor am I.
I'm trying to think when Mudpack came out in Detective. That was around 601, 602.
Yeah.
It's right after the Batman movie came out. So these would be really close.
Okay.
Because in that, he's more free-forming, gloopy thing. And,
okay. Can shapeshift and all that kind of stuff?
You know, which is funny, because I own those issues. Not by an artist I would have normally collected. I got them.
Brayfogle, right?
Yeah, and hadn't read them yet.
All right.
Published in 89.
Okay, 89. So that's 3 years earlier than this.
Yeah,
so then maybe they took some. They
did.
influence from that.
I think they solidified it more. Literally.
Booker's in it?
I
like Booker.
When he had made weapons out of his hands and stuff, I don't think they did that precisely in the comics.
He almost kind of turns into Batman's like Sandman or something like that.
Yeah, and that's one of my ha's, is we'll get into that.
All right. So, my other goods were, and there's a lot of them, the kind of old Hollywood feel to this.
Yes.
Where it was, like the actor was like in a studio and it had like this name on it on the arch over the driveway, and he had an old Airstream trailer, and they were talking about his noir film and his war film and his, like all the films that it wasn't like there was a modern one or whatever. It all kind of had throwback, like a pirates and old spacemen and stuff like that. I thought the old Hollywood feel of that was really cool. Ed Asner as, you cannot talk about this series without talking about the voice casting of Andrea Romano. Ed Asner, just a legendary actor. The guy's fantastic in everything he's in. And in this one, he's the evil millionaire type of a guy, really ruthless and stuff like that. His portrayal was really excellent.
And he looked just like Norman Osborn.
That was one of my ha's. It's like, dang it, it looked like Norman Osborn if he didn't keep himself trimmed.
All right, and then and and then my final good was getting away from kind of the generic henchman.
Yeah.
Daggett's henchman was the guy with the, I don't know if they ever call them like phones or something like that, but he was always listening to the police radio. But then they had Germs, who was like the germaphobe guy, and he, and
like we all are now.
And yeah, exactly. And Batman questioning him in the lab with the punching the wall where the thing was dangling, the jar of something was dangling over his head on the shelf. I thought that was one of the better Batman interrogation scenes out of comics, movies, TV. I thought that was freaking fantastic or whatever. So that's my goods. Keith, what do you got?
There's a couple of my goods too. I love the fact that Matt Hagen is a sympathetic villain. This wasn't by his choice. Accident happens. He needs his stuff to keep his job, basically, which I can relate to right now too. And so I actually like that. I like the fact that they showed he was addicted to the cream. It was actually, something he needed. It was no longer, not even for a job. It's something that became addictive to him. Yes. I think this was a way more cohesive two-parter than the previous ones. I thought it went together.
Sure Brian's going to argue that, but
no story.
No, story-wise. Yeah, he's right.
Story-wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not animation, story-wise. The picture guy will handle all the animation problems, and I loved the way he faked his death, and I thought that was really cool. It was really clever. Showed that having worked in Hollywood, he gave himself a Hollywood ending. I thought that was really cool.
There you go. Oh, there's a good one, Keith.
Yeah, that was really good.
So that's mine.
For episode 1?
Yes, so we'll give you your...
No, I'll do them together, because I actually don't have goods for episode 2.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I have glees.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Fat Polly's Pool Hall. Some of the shit that they come up with that you see in the background and Fat Polly's Pool Hall, immediately
I missed that. I would love that.
Yeah, I immediately saw the inside of that place. Some of the things that they do on that are just the little details, and I miss a lot of them. But Fat Polly's Pool Hall, I love.
That's cool.
We're just doing goods?
Yeah, we're on goods, right?
Okay,
unless you want to start bads.
No.
You can still pick off the bads.
All right, I did my goods. My bads for this either one of the two episodes, and Brian could probably touch on more, but the one thing that I had a problem is Batman, world's greatest detective, trained in a million different arts, disappears from view, like almost plain view with Gordon and Bullock and all these other guys, and he has to sneak into the place wearing a janitor's outfit. It bugged the shit out of me.
He's got those costumes. He's got to use them.
Yeah.
You compliment his closet costume.
Then he should have just...
But then when he uses one, you're like, oh my God.
No. I'm sorry. This was like Adam West, he's got the bat uniform on underneath the janitor's like coverall or something. It pissed me. Like if you're gonna do the sneak in as a janitor, look like the janitor with a beard and a mustache and an eye patch and stuff like that.
Is that how janitors? Those janitorial accidents happen.
But
with the eye patch?
Well, something with like a disguise, not like the freaking cowl with just the fucking coveralls over it.
That has been my experience with custodians throughout my life with the eye patch.
That's why I didn't become one. I knew I'd have to lose an eye at some point.
Oh,
and I went,
Jesus.
I got the beard, but I want to keep the eye.
I mean, that's more advanced custodial.
That's long-term custodial.
That's not true, yeah.
That's how you show you're experienced.
I love it.
Oh my God, he's a 20-year.
That's my favorite fucking thing in the episode now.
I hope you're all laughing along with us.
All right. Keith, what were your bads on that one?
I didn't really have a bad. The animation, yes, it was different. I thought the animation in the second episode was better, but it really wasn't bad. Not after coming off of Prophecy of Doom or whatever the hell it was. It's kind of hard. It's like you watch it and then, hey, the Indian picture at the end, when TV went off, would have been better than that one. So,
wow.
Oh, wow. All right, Brian, what do you got for bads?
You know what? And this really was in the first episode. Okay, so it's Wayne Tech. They're known for their
tech.
Yeah, their tech and their Batman uses all the shit and da-da-da-da-da. They can't come up with a briefcase that has a fucking decent handle on it? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
You don't realize how useful a breakaway handle is on a briefcase.
I'm beginning to figure it out. And then, you know what? The beaten easily by another goon.
Yeah.
I was just, are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, okay, that'll go under, huh? That's what I...
Was that was bad for both?
That was my bad. That
both
was my
episodes?
bad, yeah.
Okay.
We could probably say for every episode, beaten easily by
anybody. Yeah,
There's
by
a point,
anybody.
he
Yes,
gets his ass kicked every episode.
And I could see to a point that they're trying to humanize Batman, like he's not all powerful, but it's inconsistent. It's like the inconsistency. It's like he takes on 6 guys. He takes on 6 of Mr. Freeze's henchmen, no problem. But he has problem with one like average guy. It's like
No.
120-pound asthmatic.
Yeah.
I want him to be able to beat people. I'm not watching Lance the animated series. I'm watching Batman the animated
So
series.
Keith's just taking shots left and right at everybody.
I'm not watching Keith the animated series.
It's like he has one of those T-shirt guns, man. Just boom.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know what.
What'd
What'd you put in his
I was
coffee,
going to say
dude?
Brian the animated series, but I picked on him enough today.
All right, Keith, did you have any huzz?
I had a couple huns. My one hun was, why does Daggett look like
Norman
Osborn with a glandular
husky
problem?
Norman Osborn?
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. And you got a guy hanging from the bat plane with a clamp on his hand. How does the hand not come off? The skin not come off?
And they're dipping him into the water.
You're banking and dipping him. How'd you not kill that guy?
Yeah, no, that was.
Oh, he fainted. No, he didn't. He fucking passed out from the pain.
All right, so
this thing went through a car, and then you clamp onto him.
Yeah,
I understand it's Wayne Tech, and that's pretty cool. maybe it's made like the briefcases where it breaks off.
Yeah, I was going to say, as cool as I thought that the interrogation of germs was, I thought that the interrogation of poor phones or whoever this guy was just, wow, they missed a boat on this one.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was bad.
Brutal. And then he's yelling at him through the cockpit, and he can hear. Everybody can hear.
He's got speakers.
All right, Brian, did you have any? Keith and I had the same haw, so do you have any haws?
You know what? In the first episode, especially, okay, does anybody have any kind of reaction time? Because it seemed like everything that would happen, like Batman he gets tripped by the guy. But it took like 10 seconds, you know? The guy, the way he rolls over in almost slow motion, and then Batman, and then the thing reaching in the car to get the guy.
Yeah.
That scene, he pulls the door off. First he pulls the door off, and secondly, then they showed it again, it had the door. And then it comes back and he doesn't have the door. It took like a minute and a half for that fucking arm to reach in and go,
I think I kind of shucked and jived my way out of the
I would have dived into the back seat. I would have jumped into the water.
Yeah.
The reaction time for everybody in that episode was just fucking horrendous. Was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have beat up guys who were moving that slow.
Yeah. What else you got?
Not that I'm not fucking tough.
I was about to say, I didn't say that about him. He said about himself.
Oh, and then in the second episode, when he gagged the guy with his face. Ew, he pulls that chunk off his face and then whop.
I thought that was actually pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm. Now, the stand-in, his double.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out if he was his double or his lover.
Wow,
He's
cooking.
cooking.
You have to go there on every single one of these.
He's very protective. He's very caring.
He's cooking him dinner.
Like an older brother, maybe.
Yeah, he's at his house, and he's like, no, you're the best.
Yeah,
and then he throws him against the wall, and he... I just thought he was... I couldn't figure out if he was his stand-in or his lover.
It was implied.
I don't...
Get Bruce Timm out.
Yeah, that wasn't a sexual thing. And that was the other thing that... And you guys touched on it earlier. Does he mimic the look of a thing, or does he actually become the thing? Because there were times he was making axes that were
and they look like an axe.
And the pokey metal thing.
Yeah.
I was like, he doesn't become that thing. He doesn't become metal.
I think he could change, and we're going to talk in the comic books physics, I think he could change his density and his mass.
Okay.
Sort of like Sandman. Like Sandman can like flow through a grate or something like that, but then he can make it just like those fists and the hammers or whatever and smash a bunch like brick walls or whatever. I think they were trying to imply that it's sort of like the same comic book physics like that.
Okay, because that kind of threw me. I was like, he doesn't create metal.
No,
he can look
mimics
like
it.
metal.
Well, he can look like they show him when he puts on his costume. makes the costume of the pirate that or the conquistador, whatever.
Yeah, he had like a sword. And stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
He can make that stuff and look like it. It doesn't necessarily mean it is.
Right, and I like the changing of the density.
Plus,
that makes a lot more sense. Okay, those are my Haas.
Attacked by a giant clay axe. It's not as scary as a giant metal-looking axe.
I was just thinking, you know what? I've been hit by dirt clods. Those hurt.
Oh, clay can be really strong. I mean,
Yeah.
All right, so down to the glees here, boys. Keith, did you have some glees?
I did. I love the ending. I love that ending where it zooms in on the girl and you get the CLAYFACE eyes at the end. And I love the TIE fighter noises that the bat plane made. If you listen to it, it's like a TIE fighter. I think they stole that. Because I actually went and checked TIE fighter noises. I go, that sounds like I'm watching Star Wars. And then I went and, it's almost exact same sound. And I thought that was really cool. Now, the bat plane, whatever the fuck it's called, should sound like that all the time.
I agree.
What kind of glee you got, Brian?
I thought it was some of the best animation. Not the first episode. I have no glee for the first episode. The second episode I thought was some of the best animation in the series.
Yeah.
They chose some really good angles on like him coming through the window and just a lot of really good stuff. But the freaking out sequence at the end.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's it. Yeah, that was straight out of anime.
Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, and the ending of that was just brilliant with the body just crumbling into dust and he may still be alive.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little weird, Batman poking the thing with the electricity.
Well, he had seen the thing from another world and went, oh.
He's poking it and it's rapping.
And it's turned into a cube and a bomb and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that means that it was CLAYFACE.
Part of CLAYFACE.
It was, yeah.
Well, but any part of him.
Why wouldn't that dry out like the husk?
Yeah,
you know what? And I know you guys don't watch Harley Quinn, the new animated series. And CLAYFACE is one of the villains in that. It's part of her crew. And there's one episode where he gets his hand cut off. And his hand becomes a thing. Like a little baby CLAYFACE.
Oh, jeez.
And makes friends with Commissioner Gordon, whose wife is leaving him, so he's a drunk.
Oh, jeez.
No, it's his only friend. It is the funniest fucking episode with this little hand. So any part of CLAYFACE is CLAYFACE.
So it's like Groot.
Yeah. But him poking it with the... I was like, okay, stop, Bruce, stop. You know it's like alive or something. Yeah, you keep... Here, look at this, Alfred.
You know, he's a lonely man. He's got much to do.
But that freaking out sequence.
Yeah.
At the end when he just...
Switching to different...
Yeah.
All the different characters. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
wow.
I think all three of us agree that end sequence is just one of the best out of the series.
Yes.
When he's mimicking all the roles that Batman puts up on all the television screens, the Hollywood ending, as Keith put it, and stuff like that, and then the stinger at the end where he's actually alive and he looks like some woman.
But he's looking at his lover, who should have had a tear coming down his eye.
Anyways,
so they answered CLAYFACE as a woman.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, I'm going to add one other piece of glee on this.
Freeze frame. You did a Kolchak moment where freeze frame.
Okay, and I'm going to add my own bit of glee on this one, and I'm going to say that the actual origin piece of Matt Hagen, you know, when they, like, the two gangsters, like, hey, hold them down, I got an idea, and they, like, pour the Renews-It formula all over his face and stuff like that, and it's just, like, in a shadow, and he's, like, choking and stuff. It's like, dude, this is hardcore. This is more hardcore than some rated R movies that I see.
You know what? I'm going to agree. And then when they drag him out in the car and his hand breaks down,
it was like a horror movie or something. I thought that was really cool.
I was taken aback. Yeah, you're right. That was really good.
All right, so I'm just going to do another 5-star episode as far as both of them 5 stars as far as I'm concerned. I know you had a problem with the first one, but
I gave it 4.5.
I'm going to go 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, because I don't think it's better.
All right, this is a good episode, guys. Let us know what you think.
Hello, friends. You know who here. Check out the Three Old Geeks podcast wherever finer podcasts are downloaded. Let us know what you think of the reviews in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. Or else!